Duet Night Abyss just gave us a bunch of secret letter updates that are going to be happening on November 25th. A lot of replacements that are going to do very, very well for everybody who wasn't able to grind out Psyche at the beginning because, well, it's a little bit of a grind. But this kind of gives us a detailed, like, I guess a map of how things are going to go, and I am all for this. So before we get started on that, obviously, like, comment, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. Let me know what you think about Duet Night Abyss and all these changes, and don't forget to check out GamerSupps. Use code TYSTRA for 10% off of your purchase. Gluten-free, keto-friendly energy, great for you if you're like trying to cut back on sodas and all this other stuff, and it's great tasting, so many great flavors. Without any further delay, let's go ahead and dive into what we see here. Well, I think that this is so cool because for me, I've been having a hard time trying to keep up on the grind, especially with all the stuff that I'm doing on the side. I'm having to, like, even for like my VTuber side of things, I'm having to play Duet Night Abyss on stream because of the fact that I'm just having this hard time keeping up with everything going on with Duet Night Abyss. And I really want to push as much as I possibly can to play this game because Duet Night Abyss is so good. In my opinion, it is so good. And these updates show you how it's going to be. So let's go ahead and first talk about these updates. Secret Letter Fina and Secret Letter Dreamweaver's Feather will replace Secret Letter Psyche and Secret Letter Elpide's Abound as the limited time rewards in Immersive Theater. What does that mean? Well, Immersive Theater is something that you have to grind out. It's like endgame content to get these characters a little bit early. And we've seen a bunch of people in the multiplayer with Psyche just absolutely destroying some of these different commissions. And I'm all for it. And with Fina coming up, and we're going to talk about what Fina can do here afterwards, but the fact that we're getting this and they're giving us a detail of how they're doing it is always a pleasure to see, and it makes it a lot easier. Now, here's the next one. Secret Letter Psyche will replace Secret Letter Tabith as the challenge reward in Nocturnal Echoes Sybil. Now, I didn't quite understand the whole thing when they were talking about it in the initial live stream, but this shows you that the weekly challenges that you could challenge up to 5 times is going to be where you could find these new characters, right? And I like that. I like that a lot. And it's the same thing for the weapon as well. Secret Letter Elpide's Abound will replace Secret Letter Shackle of Lone Wolf as a challenge reward in the Nocturnal Echoes Sybil. So Nocturnal Echoes are where you're going to be grinding for a little bit to get these new character stuff, or not new, but new, right? So Psyche is going to take that form while Fina is in the Immersive Theater, which is great. Very good way of like laying this out properly. But here's the cool thing. Secret Letter Tabith, because people were probably going to wonder where they could actually get Tabith and her weapon. So Secret Letter Tabith and Shackle of Lone Wolf will become permanently exchangeable in the Secret Letter Exchange Shop, which is normally where you get a lot of the Secret Letter stuff, which is super cool that they're putting Tabith there. I think it makes more sense, and I think that a lot of the ones that we see as like the other characters, so like what's her name? I keep on forgetting Red Demon Woman. Hellfire. Like Hellfire and all the other ones will be put as a permanent thing that you can get from those. And then as time goes on, when all 5 of those, or all 6, 7, depending on which ones are double units, are replaced, those will start getting replaced, and we'll end up seeing Psyche in the permanent, or Fina. So that's how that rotation is going to work. And I actually really like that. So kudos to Duet Night Abyss for doing that. I think that this is a great way to show off how it's going to work, especially on November 25th, which is not next week, but the following week. So be prepared. Thanksgiving week is also Fina week, and that's what we're going to talk about next is Fina. Now, I am using gameswith.net because I don't know another site that actually shows it off very well, and it shows it off in a more recent thing. I did see Boar List, which was cool. It had a very good layout, but it wasn't updated since March, it seems, which I'm pretty sad about. But let's go ahead and dive into Fina really quick. So Fina, from what I'm seeing, is going to be a great combat partner on the side. So you want her as, like, say, your Rebecca slot and stuff like that. So it seems like she's going to be more a support role. So let's go ahead and talk about what she does. Lumino Buffer Specialist. Fina excels at enhancing her team's combat potential through her abilities. She uses skills like Boisterous Tea Party to boost allies' penetration states, and Tal Weaver Quill stacks to increase her skill damage and skill range, which is why she's good in that support role to actually like be able to use those skills on a constant basis. So as we continue onward, we can look at her best weapon stats, which is funny enough, like I was seeing that like Dreamweaver's Feather is her best ranged weapon, but we also need to know what her best melee weapon is, which is the Tether Lash. So again, you want to grind out multiple weapons because you're going to have your normal and your ranged weapons, right? Or melee and ranged weapons, right? So as we continue onwards, we see basically the best demon wedges, but they're not going to show us the skills and all that stuff. But it seems like she's going to be able to do a lot of stuff in regards to the support role. I wish that they actually provided the skill and what it does, but I guess in essence, it's not revealed, quote unquote, in terms, right? So that's the only thing that sucks about this website. Never mind, I found it. I went to game 8 and they actually have this stuff. So let's go ahead and dive in. She's got her skill effects on the Warm Afternoon. Deals lumino damage to enemies in front and reduces their movement speed. While Boisterous Tea Party is active, using the skill relocates the field to the user's position, expands its range to match Boisterous Tea Party, and increases its damage. And then we also have the buff skills, which is why Fina is going to be good as the secondary character, or not secondary, but back row character, I guess is the best way to put it. Creates a Boisterous Tea Party field in front of Fina. Boisterous Tea Party continuously consumes sanity and ends when sanity drops to 0 or when the skill is held. During Boisterous Tea Party, using the skill again will switch the field effects in the order of the Tea Party guests: Nightingale, Hound, Unicorn, and Butterfly. Using the skill again, outside of the range, will relocate Fina's current location. And as we go into Boisterous Tea Party, generates a elemental field based on the type of the Tea Party guests. For our Nightingale for Hydro, Hound for Pyro, Unicorn for Electro, and Butterfly for Animo. When the field appears in the elemental or element shifts, Fina and allies gain bonus elemental damage matching the field's type. While Boisterous Tea Party is active, the field also deals elemental damage to enemies within range every 2 seconds. So this is really good for elemental damage and also boosting that damage depending on the characters that you have. So Fina is going to be really good with any character that you really put her with. And that's what's great about support characters, is having them be able to work with any teams that you currently have. We have our passive skills here. Bad Sorcerers Hate Sunlight grants bonus lumino damage that lasts throughout the battle. Each time on a Warm Afternoon is used, grant 6 stacks of Tailweaver Quill. While Boisterous Tea Party is active, generates 1 stack of Tailweaver Quill per second. And what Tailweaver Quill does is it deals additional lumino damage. And then we have To Be Continued. Using on a Warm Afternoon increases the user and allies' damage based on the number of Tailweaver Quill stacks. And then Advanced Poker Card Soldiers increases weapon damage for self and allies proficient in swords and assault rifles. So she's going to be really good for her teammates that excel in swords and assault rifles. And normally for me, I don't like to get into the introns or anything like that, but because this is a fully grindable experience, I'm going to go into the introns, right? So Intron 1, targets granted the ability to deal additional elemental damage by Boisterous Tea Party gain an effect that increases their penetration states by 6% for each type of additional damage effect they possess. Intron 2 increases the stat cap of Tailweaver Quill to 45. When using on a Warm Afternoon, grants 3 additional stacks. And while Boisterous Tea Party is active, you gain 1 extra stack per second. So getting her at least to Entron 2 is probably going to be the best thing for you to do. You get Entron 3 on a Warm Afternoon level +2 and Bad Sorcerers Hate Sunlight +1. And then on Entron 4, each stack of Tailweaver Quill increases Fina's skill damage by 2% and skill range by 1%. So let's talk about that for a second. Tailweaver Quill, if you're at Entron 4, you're already getting the Entron 2 skill. So 45 times 2, you're getting, but times 2, right? Times 2%, right? So you're getting an 90% increase of your skill damage, and your skill range is going up by 45%, which is pretty freaking crazy to think about. And it's going to make her an insane support character, that's for sure. Entron 5 does let the tea party begin +2 and bad sorcerers hate sunlight +1. So between Entrons 3 and 5, you're going to go up +4 and +2. And then Entron 6, during Boisterous Tea Party, when Fina deals weapon damage, for each bonus effect the target is suffering, the crit chance of this attack is increased by 24%, and the elemental type of the damage is converted to the target's weakness type. So, Fina is going to be S+ tier of support characters, right? I'm very excited for her because she seems really, really cool. And ultimately, like, I'm just loving how we can just grind out these characters and weapons, right? Duet Night Abyss is an amazing game, and I'm absolutely loving every chance I get to play it. So these Scarlet Letters, I keep saying Scarlet Letters, but these secret letter changes that are going to be coming with each new character is just really good, and the way they laid it out makes it so much easier to understand than when in the live stream personally. So I'm very excited for Fina, so let me know in the comments down below if you are as well. Like, comment, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. Let me know how you're enjoying Duet Night Abyss, and as always, we will catch you in the next video. Please take care and be safe.